what keeps me up, Paul, is what more can we be doing to help our franchises and to grow the brand? It's unlimited when I think about it. I subscribe to the belief that there are answers up in the sky and ideas up in the sky that we can do to grow the business for everybody, but will we find those? So I keep looking and being new to franchising, I'm learning every day some things that people have known for years.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Franchise. As always, I'm your host, Paul Ehlinger here, and super excited. We've got a unique guest today, and it's that we've got two guests, and they happen to be related. So we've got John and Tyler Berglund with us today from Tijon, excuse me. Guys, thanks for joining the show today.
Absolutely, our pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Paul. It's exciting.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. We've obviously had a lot of individuals. We've had one married couple on the show, and now you guys are our first father and son duo. So I feel like we're getting all the family dynamics out of here.
Awesome.
But no, I really appreciate you. And for those who may not know who you guys are, if you wouldn't both mind kind of giving your quick background, who the heck are you? How did you end up to where you are today? Tyler, maybe we'll start with you.
We'll start with me for sure. So my name's Tyler Berglund. I just joined Tijon about 5.5, 6 months ago. I'm the son of the CEO, John Berglund. I've had about 20 years in retail. I started with Abercrombie and Fitch, went to Ross stores, and then Burlington stores. And I managed from California, San Diego to Hawaii. I managed all the Ross stores in Hawaii on Kauai, Oahu, and Maui. And then spent time opening stores in Beijing, China, Tianjin, China, and Shanghai with Abercrombie, and then managed all the Burlington stores in Wisconsin. So I've got a lot of versatility and background in retail, developing training, and all of that, and opening new stores. So as Tijon has grown rapidly, and John will speak to it, opening about 9 stores in the last 12 months, John basically said, "Hey, Tyler, can you come on board? And if not, I'm gonna fill that position, or can you help me fill that position?" I said, "Absolutely." And I felt like the need was there to jump on board, and my background could help elevate and grow Tijon that much quicker. So I decided that I loved my parents, so why not love working with them? I love the company. I grew up with the company since 2007. So I felt like my need was finally there. So I took the jump and I moved from Wisconsin down here to headquarters in Arizona, and I've loved it ever since. It's been a really exciting process and new for me. But with that being said, I'll throw it over to CEO John.
Well, for us, I was in the corporate world for many, many years, and starting about 1990, it was unrelated to perfumes or colognes, but that was always my passion, how we could blend a couple of oils together to create a new scent. So around 1990, I got a crazy idea of saying, I want to semi-retire, but I'll still want to work, and I want to retire to a tropical climate like the Caribbean.
Sure.
But I want to do something, so I'm going to maybe have a perfume shop. So for almost 20 years, I was working on perfumes, consulting with perfumers, studying the business, the chemistry, and then we semi-retired to French St. Martin in 2007.
Yeah.
And it was never meant to really be a true business. We were never open on weekends, only Monday through Friday. And living and working on the French side of St. Martin, we had to be French residents, which we were for 18 years. And we opened and selling 10 of our Tijon branded perfumes for sale. Okay. And it went fine. But then we had people come in. We had a perfume organ with 300 oils for show. And customers came in and said, can we create our own? Can we blend our own perfumes together?
Yeah. It's all right there in front of them.
We weren't smart enough to think of that, so we said, okay. So we created a class, then we created 2 other classes, and that became the niche of our business. It became a real business, and we had customers come in from the U.S. saying, hey, this would work great in my community. Can we franchise? So we finally did that years later, and it really turned into a business. But one additional note, it was probably around the year 2000 when I was trying to come up with a name for Tijon. And it was a family thing. My wife, my son, and my daughter were all doing it together. And I said, okay, Tyler, we called him TJ for Tyler John. So I said, let's call it Tijon, Tyler John. It sounded French, and that's what we did.
They had my vote pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tyler, that's an easy one to be like, yeah, that's great marketing, guys. Let's throw it out there. So, John, you failed at retirement is all I'm hearing through this entire journey.
We semi-retired, and now I'm back in full business, going full blown. But I've got the luxury where I don't need to work for financial reasons.
Yeah,
I'm working because I love it.
you
I just
love
have
it.
a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I'm curious, so I would love to dive into the dynamic between you two, right? Because I think it is interesting to come into a business, especially Tyler, it's being named after you, but then you're joining so much further into it. And so maybe talk me through, what that decision was like for you, Tyler. And then, we can transition into John, what's it like integrating your son into a fully operating business already? And what does that dynamic look like? So Tyler, if you want to kick us off.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, well, the John and Cindy, my parents, have asked me to join the company for years now, and I just didn't feel like it was big enough. And they had one in St. Martin, and then they had one in Charleston, and I just didn't feel the true need, and so I didn't want to be like some nepo baby and just work for my parents just because I could. I wanted the real need to be there, and once you grew it from the one store to 11, and really needed my help and support with the growth and trajectory. I felt like the need was actually there, and my background could benefit the company as well. And I know my parents very, very well as well, so I knew that I could work alongside them very well, and complement them, and work together and help grow, and not get beat down by it and enjoy it. And I really have. I've learned a lot. It's completely, even though it's in retail and I'm opening stores similar to what I used to do, it's so much different than anything I've ever done in my background. So it's really fun. It's really exciting. I like to lean into being uncomfortable because that's when you really grow. So those are some of the reasons why I decided to take the leap of faith, and it's really worked out well for me.
How much of this was, did you just always have an interest in retail when you first started your career in the space, or was it always a family interest? Like, what drove your initial inclination to go down the path you went down?
I just fell into it, to be honest with you. I got my business degree at Georgia College and State. I moved to San Diego. I was sleeping on my sister's couch, and it was in a recession. It was 2009.
Yeah, so take the job you can get. Yeah.
So I took the first job I could get, and then I fell into it, and I really liked it. I really like people. I love engaging. I like to be a part of people's growth and development, and see them be successful, and help build them up and grow them and get their bigger salaries and get promoted. That always puts a smile on my face. So transitioning into Tijon, like I told John, my father, I've never been to a Tijon. I've never been to a class where anyone left unhappy. Everybody is so elated and so engaged, and they're smiling and they're talking, and it's such a fun time. So I really enjoy it, and I think that's part of the big benefits of working Tijon as well.
Yeah, no, I love that. And John, for you, like I have to imagine having the opportunity to bring your son into the business you're building. It's got to be like top notch, one of the best life experiences you can get. Like, what's it been like for you as Tyler's joined you in the last half year here?
Due to unexpected explosive growth, a year ago we had 3 shops open. We now have 11, soon to be 16. I needed someone to come in, whoever, and there was Tyler out there. He had just moved from Hawaii to Milwaukee, and didn't enjoy Milwaukee as a region as much as Hawaii.
I was going to say, Tyler, you've got a gig here just finding jobs in beautiful tropical locations. I need to figure out how you're doing that.
So I reached out to Tyler, and he had an interest. He knew the business inside out, and it's been a godsend because he had the retail experience that I did not have. He came in and right away was loved by our franchisees, locations. He has the ability to go out to each location to figure out, to assess them, give a strong 3-page written assessment saying, look, these are the things you're doing great. You are really fantastic, but here's some things you could do a little bit better. Yeah. And here's some things we suggest. And he does it very tactfully. And it's just a skill set I never had.
I love that. And I am curious, like, I think you're describing really fast growth, right? Like, that's multiples of growth there in a short amount of time. I know from experience, when you're in high growth environments, it's pretty stressful for everybody involved. What is that like when it is a familial relationship? Like, how are we just hardcore pushing into conversational skills? And, what does that look like as we're trying to manage through what I have to imagine can be some growing pains as you're growing the business?
Yeah, I'll let Tyler respond to that. But I can tell you what's so amazing to us. We have 18 contracted to open total. We're 11 open now. And 16 of them were all former customers. So that's pretty amazing to us. And we have probably 10 more inquiries that we're talking to right now. But Tyler, you can respond. For me, it was a godsend for him coming. And I'm just happy to have him. So I'll see how he responds.
Yeah, no, I've loved it. I mean, yeah, there's days that are more stressful than others, but it's for me, it's a learning curve, and then that's where the stress maybe comes from. Just trying to navigate through different operational challenges that I haven't, been braced for, seen before, or gone through, and but working with my dad's been great, and getting to see him up front in person do his thing. He coaches and trains me. He really guides me and helps me when I need it, and we get along well. We're a good team.
And Paul, it's like, those little stress balls you can squeeze. Well,
Sure,
I don't
yeah.
need a stress ball. When I get stressed, I just give it to Tyler.
Yeah.
I love.
I mean, that's my job is really to
Yeah.
take as much stress off John's plate as I can, and that's kind of one of my goals is to kind of be there, like his PA, his personal assistant, with whatever his needs are, really to support.
Yeah, I mean, as a CEO myself, I love hearing that because I love people on my team that do the exact same thing. It makes my life way better. And maybe transitioning a little bit because I think this is an interesting aspect, like being that first boutique being in St. Martin and now expanding internationally into the U.S. as early as you are. I think that's pretty unique, right? Like I think most franchises based in the U.S., they're probably waiting until they've got 20, 30, 40 maybe before they look at Canada or Mexico. What's that experience been like as you have expanded internationally so early?
Yeah, we might be the only business on the whole island of St. Martin that started there and expanded to the U.S. So
Yeah, I was going to say normally it's the exact reverse.
yeah, it's the other way around. We're pretty proud of that. But again, we had no intentions when we first opened. We had a French company, a French corporation, as we had to. And we had to become French residents, and that is totally another story.
Yeah, hold their podcast there.
Yeah. But overall, it was like I say, we just did it for the adventure and the fun. Didn't have to do it for financial reasons, fortunately, and we just loved it, and it grew. We just went back a couple of weeks ago to see our friends and to see our original location, which we sold to our French manager as a franchise. And the island's doing well, and we encourage everybody to go visit St. Martin.
I can vouch. My wife and I have been, guys, and it's absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful place. And I'm curious, Tyler, with your experiences, it seems like were they all domestic locations you were working with, kind of previous in your career?
And I grew up when I graduated college. I moved to St. Martin. I lived there for like 2 months, and they had just opened the business, so I got to see it firsthand grow from the ground up. But yeah, right now I've pretty much been domestically working throughout the U.S.
Yeah. And I'm curious for both of you, like, I think a lot of things so like we're a marketing technology company. And so we talk to franchises a lot about their brand and how they're building their brand. How is that different for you guys? Like, I think of French St. Martin culturally is exceedingly different than Charleston, South Carolina, right? Like just night and day. One's French Caribbean, which is unique from Caribbean or French even by themselves. And then, the South with Charleston. How do you guys think about building that brand in a way that does resonate across those very different?
Yeah, well, that's kind of our branding niche. For the fragrances that we produce and sell, the tagline is the fragrances of the French Caribbean because they were created and inspired in the French Caribbean, and it's a different marketing type operation naturally. But while Tijon is not yet a national or international brand, we're growing it and we're getting it out there, and it's coming from the ground up through all of our classes, and we've had now over 70,000 people make perfume at our Tijon locations, which I have to pinch myself.
Yeah.
And each month that's grown by about 5,000 people. So it's not yet a brand, but it's evolving, and we're learning as we go. Because a year ago, I mean, like I said, I was here alone with 3 locations. Now we have a warehouse, 3 people in the warehouse, Tyler. We have a marketing person. So we've grown really fast, and I'm just trying to get my hands around it. But fortunately, it seems to be going good.
It clearly is. No, it clearly is. And I'm curious, Tyler, as you're hands-on with franchisees, like, how are they experiencing that journey? Because again, I do think it's unique even from their perspective, right? Of like, oh wait, we're the 3rd location open, but half of us are in the Caribbean. As you work with the franchisees, how are they feeling? What are they going through with this?
I think they're enjoying it. I try to come in and really be a support system, be an ear, try and really help them identify and root cause where they can do better and elevate the business, celebrate their wins, and be their partner and make sure they understand that. Like I got to treat them like a customer at the best of the best and really make sure that I'm there to support and help them win. but no, it's been really good, and that's been a transition for me as well. Because in my past 20 years of working, I've been working in Fortune 500 companies that
Yeah.
their salary just working for the man. But
Yep.
these people they own their business. They're
Yeah, they're
franchisees. They
invested. They're
paid to
invested
own their
very heavily.
business.
Yeah.
So they they don't take sick days. They don't
Yeah.
call me and say, hey, I can't and whine. So
Mhm.
they own their business, and
Yeah.
they love, and they're all very passionate because, like John said, they all came grassroots up through Tijon classes, 15 out of the 17 really, and they love the business, so they're passionate about it, and it's made my job very easy.
And they're really nice people. And fortunately, they're, with the exception of three that just opened, they're all profitable.
Oh, wow.
And that makes them happy as well.
Sure, yeah.
And in fact, our New Orleans location has been open 3 years, and each year it's had over a 100% return on investment.
Oh, wow.
So they're not only profitable, they're doing very well. And the bottom line is, like, as Tyler said earlier, people come in, they pay us, they thank us, and they have a great time. So it's a great environment to work in.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong, with a fun culture and everybody making money. Which kind of works
Yeah.
out nicely. Tyler, I'm curious, like having such a fresh perspective, right? Like coming into the business more recently, especially as you guys are kind of hitting this growth curve. In your opinion, like what were the big systems you wanted to put in place first? Like what were you like, hey, we absolutely need to tackle this if we're going to get to that 20, 30, 50 locations in the next few years? What are you focusing on these days?
Just any operational area that I've seen in my background that as the company grows has helped make my life as a district manager or a store manager's lives easier. I think one of the things I saw early on from a technology perspective that I thought was super important when we have, this high growth was a portal system. And one of the franchisees brought it up to me. And I was like, yeah, at every company I've ever worked for, we have this, portal where the franchisees or the owners can go just search in there and have the answers come to them. So instead of them having to call or email John or myself, between these 11 franchisees, now they have this portal that's a one-stop shop. Everything that they need is on that. And so I think from an operational perspective, being the COO, that was a big piece that I think we implemented. That's a big win. So now when they have questions, I'm like, did you check the portal?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I forgot. It's like, well,
it gives you like a little triage
No.
opportunity as well, yeah, where it's like you don't have to be schmacking emails 20 hours a day for people
Exactly.
to get the information they need.
I think that's where me coming with a fresh lens, trying to help and identify those areas that we can be more efficient, more effective, and
Yeah.
from a support system as well, just to make the lives easier, the daily lives for these franchisees is helpful.
And Tyler's working on a metric system with some companies where there could be
Dashboards.
good information sharing, as well as Tyler's working on a mystery shopping experience at all locations, not to question them, but to help them and show if they have any issues going on.
You need an unbiased opinion, right? Like if you're in the shop
Correct.
every day, it's really different than if you have somebody coming in with a very different agenda. Yeah. I love the metrics though. I think that's so important. I think we see that a lot where companies will come to us and they haven't done it historically, and it just sets them up in a really difficult place because stuff gets messy fast. But being able to show like, hey, if you do the things we're saying you should do in the guidelines, like these are the results you can expect. That just makes the franchisee experience so much better.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I'm curious, so like I've not been to Tijon yet. We were talking before this call. Like I had been a block down from you guys in St. Martin, but it didn't go into the store. As I was reading about it, it just comes across as such like a interesting, unique, like personal experience for people, right? Like nowhere else are they going to do this. They come in, they make their own thing.
Yeah.
They're in a beautiful city or state while they're doing it. How do you think about keeping that customer magic as you do get bigger and bigger and bigger?
Well, I think we're the only place in the world that I know of where someone can come into our place, they can choose from over 300 oils, get into a lab coat, get a workbook, make 3 different perfumes or colognes in a 90-minute interactive experience. They will bottle, test on their skin the 3. They will bottle and take home the one they like best in a nice 55 milliliter bottle. We keep the formula on file for reordering. We give them a certificate, and we have a champagne toast, and all of this is for $99. So it's an incredible value. One of our best marketing tools is the value, and it's a fun experience. Now, that's the most popular, our 90-minute experience. We also have a 3-hour experience for the perfume aficionados who want more time. And we have about a 20-minute to 30-minute experience, more of an express flash type deal for those that don't have the time. But the 90-minute one is the most best value and the mostly used. And what we have to do now as I tell the franchisees, the business model that we have today is working, but it may not be the same business model 5 years from now. We have to look at what the customers tell us and what other people are doing in the industry to constantly change. Remind my franchisees that when McDonald's first opened, they were just a drive-up stand. And then all of a sudden they were told they had to rebuild to have indoor seating. Then they were told they had to be open for breakfast. Then they were told they had to sell chicken and fish sandwiches. But you know what? It's worked pretty well for them.
Doing okay for them. Yeah, they're doing all right. No, I think that's super interesting. And I'm curious, as you guys are thinking about, as this company grows, what's keeping you up at night these days, right? It's my favorite question to ask entrepreneurs. It's, what are you guys thinking about right now that you're like, hey, if we kill this in Q1 next year, we've got a great start to 2026?
Tyler, you start.
Mine's kind of twofold. I think one, just keeping up with the growth and making sure that we are truly being the support system that all the franchisees need and really setting up for success. That's something that always stays in the back of my mind. But the other piece, I think, is just keeping up. Now that we've been so successful, we have a lot of copycat competition. Whenever somebody opens similar to us, we always look up because we save all our formulas and customer entries. It's always somebody that took a class at Tijon and then they copycat us, or it's a one-off or a perfume bar. And so there's a lot of competition blowing up right now, and it's really becoming a popular industry in the retail space. And so how do we continue to keep stay in front of our competition and continue to lead the way in this particular industry is something that keeps me up at night for sure.
Yeah.
What keeps me up, Paul, is what more can we be doing to help our franchises and to grow the brand? It's unlimited when I think about it. And I subscribe to the belief that there are answers up in the sky and ideas up in the sky that we can do to grow the business for everybody. But will we find those? So I keep looking and being new to franchising. I'm learning every day some things that people have known for years. So I'm waking up and thinking, oh wow,
this is such a unique, crazy idea.
Metrics. Tyler mentioned metrics. Yes, let's do metrics. How do we do it? And we're having a lot of calls with a lot of vendors, suppliers. The IFA, the International Franchise Association, is fantastic. I'm in my first year of membership. They provide us with a mentor who is incredible. I'm learning every day, and I wake up thinking, "Wow, I didn't think of this. I could do that." It's a fun type of wake up.
Yeah, franchising is so interesting because it is inherently kind of non-competitive, right? Like it is just a business model, and everybody you talk to in IFA and all that's just somebody also thinking on and iterating on the exact same business model, which I find really cool. But maybe talk a little bit more to that, because I do think it's really interesting for early, like an emerging franchisors, when you realize that franchising is a separate business. Like you've got the core business that is, the perfume experience, and then you've got franchising, which is a very different business. What's that experience been like for you guys as you've gotten into it?
You said it completely, because we have two core customers. We have, number one, our client base that come in to make perfumes or buy perfumes. And then we have the franchisees. They're our customer too. And that's something relatively new to us that we're still learning on how we can support them and help them and get their feedback in the proper manner. So that's our two customer base. And we know the clients pretty well. We know, because I've been in it for many years, we know what the first thing when we were in St. Martin for many years, and when Charleston was our first U.S. franchise, they said, and they were great people and done a tremendous job. They said, well, our customers in Charleston are different. I said, no, we get your customers in St. Martin. We get them from all over the U.S. They're not different. They're the same. Yeah. So we understand that the client customer base. We're still learning the franchisee customer base. We're learning how we can help them, what issues they may have, and what's the most efficient way to help them grow.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I'm curious, Tyler, you brought up kind of the emerging competition, right? And like, I personally love it. I'm a competitive guy. Like if somebody's trying to copy me and it means I'm doing the right thing, you know what I'm saying? I'm curious, when you think about staying ahead of it though, like what does that look like for you guys? Is that iterating on the product offering? Is that, creating different kind of experiences you can offer? What's top of mind for you guys as you do think about staying ahead of competition?
Well, I think observing and listening are two key attributes to being successful there. Our franchisees bring us a lot of different strategies and what they're seeing from competition around them and provide us a lot of insight as well. And us keeping an open mind and being
Yeah.
flexible and listening and really taking a strategic approach, testing the models, testing what we see and see if it works or not before we just rush in and throw it into Tijon, and really be tactful that way. We've got some things we're working on behind the scenes right now that are up our sleeves that John can talk about if he wants. But yeah, that's kind of our approach right now. But I'll turn it over to John.
Yeah, well, as you said, Paul, imitation is the best form of flattery. So we, we,
100%.
we have no problem when people want to come out and try to copy us, because what we have found is no one can really do it for the $99 cost, because we have, we buy 60,000 bottles at a time. We buy all these things in vast quantities,
Yeah.
and have done it for many years. So we can keep the cost down to the ultimate customer. But we have a lab, a primary corporate lab, kind of like the McDonald's kitchen, where we do all the kinds of testing. We're testing adding colorants, adding glitter, and right now the glitter is clogging the pump, but
Oh,
the colorants are
interesting.
working. So we may be
A
rolling out.
problem you never thought you'd have to solve in life, I suppose.
Yeah,
For sure.
we may roll out some coloring options, some fragrance bar additions, things like that. So we're always testing things and testing new formulas, testing new oils, and the quality of the oils in our corporate lab, and it keeps us real busy.
Yeah, I'm curious around as an in-person experience, it makes a ton of sense. Have you guys thought about like a digital experience, right? Of like I can spin up a five or
Yeah,
six, and you send me a tiny bottle. Like,
yeah.
is that a thing that happens? Is
Those
it in the work?
Yeah, so two things. One, we also have a mobile experience where we can go
Very
out to
cool.
a hotel or something where we have 100 people,
An
and we've
event
done
or
that,
something?
and
Yeah.
we're still providing some additional options, but it's going very well. During
Awesome.
COVID, I did create a digital experience,
Cool.
so a virtual lab. So you can create a perfume virtually on our site. You can still do it, but the bottom line is I'm the master perfumer. I personally do it, and I'm getting too busy, and so we up the price. So
Yeah.
we're not promoting it, but it's available.
That's
But
awesome.
but again, could I refine that to make it more efficient and not be so involved? Yes, and we'll be working on that.
Yeah, no, I love that. And maybe gearing into a last question here, I'm curious, from both of your perspectives, where's Tijon in 10 years? Like, where do you guys imagine yourselves being 10 years from now as you guys are, maybe on the other side of some of this growth and evolving as a company?
I'm hoping in 10 years that Tijon will be a national or international brand, that
Yeah,
people will recognize the name, they'll appreciate the Tijon branded perfumes and colognes, and they will have said, wow, I've made my own, and it was fun.
that's awesome.
Tyler?
What about you, Tyler?
I think John said it well. I couldn't agree more with that statement. I mean, continuing to keep pace with where we're at, and getting to the point where we can efficiently and effectively open 10 locations a year and maybe grow from there. And
Yeah,
in 10 years, maybe have 100+ franchises and international, and be recognized internationally would be super exciting as well. And
And
rewarding.
there's a good chance we're going to open in Punta Cana in the next couple of months.
very cool. I love that. That's man, you guys are just a destination franchise. If you want to own a franchise in like the beautiful places of the world, you got to open in Tijon. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. And as we close an episode, we always like to give you guys kind of the pedestal. Where can people find both of you online? Where can they learn more about Tijon franchise opportunities? Do the thing.
Well, our website is Tijon, Tijon.com, named after Tyler John, who was on the site today. And, anyone can email us at any time. It's just simply John, John, at Tijon.com, or Tyler at Tijon.com. And we respond immediately.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Tijon. You can find us any of our locations. You just type in the location name, Pensacola, Tijon, Tijon, Miami, Tijon, Houston. And then in terms of franchising, if you have any interest or you want to gain some more insight, it's just Tijon, Tijon, franchise.com. There's a lot more information on that. And again, if you have questions regarding any franchising, you can email Tyler at Tijon or John at Tijon, and we'd be happy to connect you and give you more insight and information. Because like you
Awesome.
said, Paul, if anybody is a dreamer out there and wants to go live somewhere internationally or
I mean, hear
tropical
me out.
destination
I'm
or
like, I can go
there's
open one of these
tourists,
in like
there's money.
Nice, France, or something. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So where
And,
there's
and, and
tourists, there's
the
money.
location can be anywhere from St. Martin, Punta Cana to Houston is doing very well, and we're soon
Yeah.
opening in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, that's a very different market. Yeah, I love that. Well, gentlemen, Tyler, John, really appreciate you guys coming on today. Really love hearing the story. Like I said, I think interesting perspective as you guys are kind of the first father-son duo we've had on. But also, I just think the international experience so early is like a very unique characteristic of this business, and it's really fun diving into that. So I appreciate you two both taking the time today. We really do appreciate it.
We
Thank you,
appreciate
Paul.
you, Paul. Thank you
Uh,
so much for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. And for everybody listening, I hope you all enjoyed it as much as me. And as always, give us a like and a subscribe on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. And we will talk to you all later.